Om Agyanam
Krishna.
Timmirandasya Jnanajanaşalakya Chakshurunmiltamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swarupam Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaganda Gunatha Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagandalita Shri Vishaka Vitam Cha नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पार्षदेश तारिणे हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपेकांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंचा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधु एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। My screen. Yes, His Grace Ashwini Prabhuji.
Dangerous encounters. Vishan Mahagne Purushad Darshanad Asat Sabhaya Vanam Vasa Krittaha Mirde Mirde Neka Maharata Strato Drauni Astrastascha Hare Vira Shita. My dear Krishna, your Lordship has protected us from a poisoned cake, from a great fire, from cannibals, from the vicious assembly, from sufferings during our exile in the forest, and from the battle where great generals fought. And now you have saved us from the weapon of Ashwatthama. The list of dangerous encounters is submitted herein. Devaki was once put into difficulty by her envious brother. Otherwise, she was well, but Kunti Devi and her sons were put into one difficulty after another for years and years together. They were put into trouble by Duryodhan and his party due to kingdom, and each and every time the sons of Kunti were saved by the Lord. Once Bhima was administered poison in a cake, once they were put into the house made of shellac and set afire, and once Draupadi was dragged out and attempts were made to insult her by stripping her naked in the vicious assembly of the Kurus. The Lord saved Draupadi by supplying an immeasurable length of cloth, and Duryodhan's party failed to see her naked. Similarly, when they were exiled in the forest, Bhima had to fight with the man-eater demon Hidimba Rakshasa, but the Lord saved him, so it was not finished there. After all these tribulations, there was a great battle of Kurukshetra, and Arjuna had to meet such great generals as Drona, Bhishma, and Karna, all powerful fighters. And at last, even when everything was done away with, there was a Brahmastra released by the son of Dronacharya to kill the child within the womb of Putra. And so the Lord saved the only surviving descendants of the Kuru's Maharaj Parikshit.
Yes. Naveen Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Okay, आवाज आ रही है प्रभु, कोई और पढ़ सकते हैं?
Okay, yes. इसके दशब्दा प्रभु.
Yes, Prabhuji. Where Kunti remembers all the dangers through which she passed before the Pandavas regained their kingdom. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Kaunteya Patijani Name Bhakta Pranashyati. My dear Arjuna, you may declare to the world that my devotee is never vanquished. The Pandavas, the sons of Pandu, were great devotees of Lord Krishna, but because people in the material world are interested in material things, the Pandavas were put into many dangers. Their materialistic uncle Dhritarashtra was always planning to kill them and usurp the kingdom for his own sons. That was his policy from the very beginning.
issue, Prabhu.
Once Dhritarashtra conducted a house of flax, which was so inflammable that when touched with a match, it would immediately burst into fire. Then he told his nephew and his sister-in-law Kunti, I have constructed a very nice house and you should go live there for some time. But Dhritarashtra brother Vidura informed them of Dhritarashtra policy. He wants you to go to the house so that you may burn to ashes. When Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana understood that Vidura had thus informed the Pandavas, he was very angry. Such is the nature of politics. Then, although the Pandav news, our uncle plan is to send into the house and set it into fire, they agreed to go there. And after all, Dhritarashtra was their guardian and they do not want to disobedient to the order of a superior. But they dug a tunnel under that house, and when the house was set on fire, they escaped. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Dhananjay, Prabhuji.
Another time, when the Pandavas were at home, Dhritarashtra gave them poison cakes, but they escaped from being poisoned. Then Purushada Darsanath, they met a man-eating demon named Hidimba Rakshasa, but Bhima fought with him and killed him.
ये पास टाइम क्या था, मतलब ये याद है किसी को? पांडवास at home Dhritarashtra gave them poison cake. ये क्या है?
I don't remember, Prabhuji.
एक हरे कृष्ण प्रभु, एक खीर का इंसिडेंट तो याद है जो मतलब देखा था बचपन में, केक का नहीं है।
वो तो भीम को दिया था ना, भीम जब पानी में गिरा दिया था, फिर
हाँ
वो नीचे फिर वो सर्पलोक में चले गए थे।
खीर वाला इंसिडेंट तो याद है, तो ये केक वाला नहीं है।
और ये भी नहीं पता प्रभु जी हिडिंबा राक्षस का क्या था। ये
हिडिंबा तो वो थी ना, वो जो खाटू श्याम उनके पुत्र हैं, ये
घटोत्कच की मदर थे।
ओह,
घटोत्कच। हाँ,
हिडिंबा तो घटोत्कच की मदर हुई ना?
जी जी।
हाँ, शायद उनके भाई को किल किया था, आई थिंक।
हिडिंबा, हाँ।
फिर इनसे भीम ने शादी कर ली थी इनसे ना, हिडिंबा।
हिडिंबा जो राक्षसनी थी उससे भीम ने शादी कर ली थी। हो सकता है हिडिंबा उसका भाई हो उनका। हिडिंबा वैसे शायद डिवोटी थी, काली या किसी और डेमिगॉड वर्शिपर थी।
अच्छा, एक चीज और प्रभु जी, मेरे को आज तक ये लगता था कि मतलब कौरव करते थे ये, लेकिन इसमें तो क्लियर प्रभुपाद बोले कि धृतराष्ट्र प्लान करते थे ये सब चीजें।
नहीं, मतलब वो सैंक्शन कर देते थे, वैसे प्लानिंग का पार्ट तो नहीं थे, बट उनके अंदर ये डिजायर तो थी ही कि या तो मैं किंग रहूं या मेरे बच्चे रहें। तो उसके अराउंड अगर कुछ रॉन्ग डूइंग्स भी होती थी तो एज ए किंग वो मना कर सकते थे, पर करते नहीं थे। तो वो उनकी रोड थी। प्लानिंग प्लॉटिंग में तो वैसे उनका हाथ मारा जाएगा, क्योंकि ऑब्जेक्शन नहीं किया करते थे ना वो।
और स्टिल मतलब पांडवास इतना सम्मान करते थे और वो मतलब एज अ फादर ट्रीट करते थे। हाउ इज दैट पॉसिबल ब्रो?
यही है सेंटली क्वालिटी। प्रो क्या होता है सेंटली क्वालिटी, बिलीव करना ही मुश्किल हो जाता है। जैसे उसमें पढ़ते हैं कि जब युद्ध वगैरह सब हो गया था और पांडव इधर राज करते थे, तो उस समय युधिष्ठिर महाराज का डेली का नियम था उठने के बाद धृतराष्ट्र के दर्शन करने जाते थे उनके कमरे में, उनका आशीर्वाद लेने। और फिर एक दिन जब ऐसा हुआ कि विदुर ने धृतराष्ट्र को काफी सुना दिया और धृतराष्ट्र को रियलाइज हुआ कि हाँ मैंने मतलब मुझे निकल जाना चाहिए, तो रात में ही निकल गए वो फिर जंगल की तरफ। तो जब अगले दिन धृतराष्ट्र को नहीं दिखे कमरे में तो काफी परेशान हो गए, काफी दुखी हो गए कि मेरे ऊपर से तो साया उठ गया बड़ों, धृतराष्ट्र चले गए, ये वो करके। तो नारद जी ने उन्हें, विदुर जी ने शायद उन्हें समझाया था कि, या शायद नारद जी ने विदुर जी कि डोंट वरी, वो अभी 4-5 दिन जंगल में रह के फिर समाधि में रहेंगे और फिर शरीर छोड़ के वो चले ही जाएंगे। तो मतलब तुम उनके शरीर के लिए ज्यादा परेशान मत हो, ही इज गोइंग बैक होम।
ओके,
ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं।
यस, थैंक यू। यस, प्रदीप प्रभु।
On another occasion, the Pandavas were cheated in a game of chess.
in the royal assembly of Kuras.
Kurus.
Dhritarashtra,
कुरुज ये अपने कौरव हो गए ना सारे.
हाँ जी, Dhritarashtra, Bhismadeva, Dronacharya, and other elderly persons were present, and somehow or other Draupadi, the wife of Pandavas, was placed as a bet. Now, if you lose, the Kurus told the Pandavas, Draupadi will no longer be your wife. So when Pandavas lost the game, Karna and Dursasana immediately captured her, and now you no longer belong to your husband. They told her, you are our property. We can deal with you as we like.
Yes, Swati Mataji.
Previously, Karna had been insulted during Draupadi's Swayamvar. In those days, a very qualified princess would select her own husband in a ceremony called a Swayamvar. Of course, any girl may select a husband as she likes, although for a common girl, this is actually not very good. But even in those times, an uncommon, highly qualified girl who knew how to select a good husband was given the chance to do so. Even this, however, was limited by very strict conditions. Draupadi's father, for example, placed a fish on the ceiling, and he stipulated that in order to qualify to marry his daughter, a prince had to shoot an arrow and pierce the eye of the fish without directly seeing the fish, but seeing only its reflection in a pot of water on the floor. When those conditions were declared, many princes came to compete for responding to a challenge as a principle for a Kshatriya or a heroic leader.
In the assembly of Draupadi's Swayamvara, Karna was present. Draupadi's real purpose was to accept Arjuna as her husband, but Karna was there, and she knew that if he completed, Arjuna would not be able to succeed. At that time, it was not known that Karna was a Kshatriya. He was born the son of Kunti before her marriage, but that was a secret. Karna had been maintained by a carpenter. Therefore, he was known as a Sudra, a member of the lowest occupational division of society. Draupadi took advantage of this by saying, in this assembly, only Kshatriyas may compete. I do not want any carpenter to come here and take part in the competition. In this way, Karna was excluded. Yes, His Grace Shuni Prabhuji.
Yeah. Karna regarded this as a great insult, and therefore when Draupadi was lost in the game, he was the first to come forward. He was Duryodhana's great friend, and he said, now we want to see the naked beauty of Draupadi. Present at that meeting were elderly persons like Dhritarashtra, Bhishma, and Dronacharya, but they did not protest. They did not say, what is this? You are going to strip a lady naked in this assembly? Because they did not protest, they are described as Asat Sabhaya, Asat Sabha, an assembly of uncultured men. Only an uncultured man wants to see a woman naked. Although nowadays that has become fashionable. According to Vedic culture, a woman is not supposed to be naked before anyone except her husband. Therefore, because these men wanted to see Draupadi naked in that great assembly, they were all rascals. The word Sat means gentle and Asat means rude. Therefore, Kunti Devi praised Lord Krishna, you saved Draupadi in that assembly of a rude man. When the Kurus were taking away Draupadi's sari to see her naked, Krishna supplied more and more cloth for the sari, and therefore they could not come to the end of it. Finally, with heaps of cloth stacked in the room, they became tired and realized she would never be naked. They could understand it is impossible.
Yes, Naveen Prabhuji, are you there?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah. At first, Draupadi had tried to hold on her sari, but then what could she do? After all, she was a woman. The crews were trying to strip her naked. So she cried and prayed to Krishna, save my honor. But she also tried to save herself by holding on her sari. Then she thought, it is impossible to save my honor in this way. And she let go and simply raised her arms and prayed, Krishna, if you like, you can save me. Thus the Lord responded to her prayers.
Yes, His Grace Shatta Prabhu.
Therefore, it is not very good to try to save oneself. Rather, one should simply depend on Krishna. Krishna, if you save me, that is all right. Otherwise, kill me, you may do as you like. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Manas teha geha yo kichu more. Are arpilu toya pade nanda kishore. My dear Lord, whatever I have in my possession, I surrender unto you. And what do I have? I have this body and mind. I have a little home and my wife and children. But whatever I have, I surrender everything unto you. This is soul surrender.
A devotee of Krishna surrenders unto Krishna without reservation, and therefore he is called a Kinchana. The word Kinchana refers to something one reserves for oneself, and a Kanchana means that one does not keep anything for oneself. Of course, although actually one should surrender in this way, in this material world, one should not artificially imitate those who are fully surrendered. According to the example set by Rupa Goswami, whatever possession one has, one should give 50% for Krishna and 25% for one's relative, who will also accept some, who will how who will also accept something, and one should keep 25% for personal emergencies. Before his retirement, Rupa Goswami divided his money in nature. When his brother Sanatan Goswami, another great devotee, was arrested, Rupa Goswami spent everything. This is full surrender. Similarly, Draupadi fully surrendered to Krishna without trying to save herself, and then ultimately yards of clothes were supplied and the Kurus could not see her naked. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Dhananjay Prabhu.
But then, in the next game of chess, the bet was that if Pandavas lost the game, they would go to the forest for 12 years. Thereafter, they were to remain incognito for 1 year, and if detected, they would have to live in the forest again for another 12 years. This game also Pandavas lost. So for 12 years they remained in the forest for 1 year incognito. It was while they were living incognito that Arjuna won Uttara.
सब जानते हैं ना उत्तरा कौन है?
Yes, Prabhuji.
कौन?
अभिमन्यु की वाइफ, अर्जुन अर्जुन की सॉरी अभिमन्यु की माता जी और अर्जुन की वाइफ.
नहीं वो तो ठीक है, अब इसमें लिखा अर्जुन वन उत्तरा, तो वो तो ठीक है, बट उसका पास टाइम पता है क्या किसी को? मतलब मुझे नहीं पता, मैं तो पूछ रहा हूँ.
No.
अच्छा, आप पूछ रहे हो उत्तरा कौन है? उत्तरा वो आपने बताया ना, अभिमन्यु की वाइफ है.
नहीं
परीक्षित महाराज की मदर.
वो तो ठीक है रिवल, बट इसमें लिखा है ना वन उत्तरा, मतलब कुछ पास टाइम होता है क्या? वो याद है किसी को? अर्जुन उत्तरा का कोई पास टाइम होगा ना जिसमें वो वन मतलब क्या कोई युद्ध हुआ था क्या?
हाँ, समझा आप जो बोल रहे हो.
जैसे सुभद्रा का पता है ना, सुभद्रा पता था.
आई थिंक वो जब वो राजा थे तो लास्ट टाइम वो जब वो उनका 1 और वर्ष रह गया था उस समय.
अच्छा,
तो मेरे ख्याल से उन्होंने राजा को सर्व किया था और राजा को अटैक किया था ना, तो दे डिफीटेड. इनफैक्ट इफ आई एम नॉट मिस्टेकन, दे दुर्योधन अटैक्ड ओनली देम, एंड देन पंचशील राज था उस समय, शायद वो वहां पर एग्जाइल में थे फॉर लास्ट ईयर, और दुर्योधन अटैक देम, एंड दुर्योधन वाज डांसर, राइट? ही वाज टीचिंग डांस टू द डॉटर. तो ये वो वाला एपिसोड है. बट फिर मैं ये कंफ्यूज हो रहा हूँ कि उत्तरा को वॉर्न किया तो उत्तरा कैन नॉट बी द.
नहीं प्रभु जी, ब्रेहन नीला बने थे ना, वो टीच कर रहे थे डांस, आई थिंक उत्तरा.
हाँ, वो डांस टीच कर रहे थे, तो उन्होंने अपने खुद को उनके बेटे के लिए एक्सेप्ट किया था, ऐसा होगा. हाँ,
ठीक है, वो थोड़ा जानकारी इकट्ठा करते हैं इस पास टाइम के बारे में.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, let's move on.
Pradeep Prabhu.
These incidents are all recorded in the book known as the Mahabharata. The word Maha means great or greater. Bharata refers to India. Thus, the Mahabharata is the history of greater India. Sometimes people regard these accounts as stories or mythology, but that is nonsense. The Mahabharata and the Purans are histories. Although they are not chronological, if history of such a vast period of time was recorded chronologically, how many pages would it have to be? Therefore, only the most important incidents are selected and described in the Mahabharata.
Yes, Swati Mataji.
Kunti prays to Krishna by describing how he saved the Pandavas on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Mridhe mridhe neka maharathastra. On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, there were great fighters called Maharathas. Just as military men in modern days are given titles like Lieutenant, Captain, Commander, Commander-in-Chief. Formerly, there were titles like Ekarath, Atirath, and Maharath. The word Rath means chariot. So if a warrior could fight against one chariot, he was called Ekarath. And if he could fight against thousands of chariots, he was called Maharath. All the commanders on the battlefield of Kurukshetra were Maharathas. Many of them are mentioned in Bhishma, Karna, Dronacharya were especially great commanders. They were such powerful fighters that although Arjuna was also a Maharath, before them he was nothing. But by the grace of Krishna, he was able to kill Krishna, Bhishma, Dronacharya were especially. कहाँ पर है?
Karna,
But
Bhishma,
by the grace
Dronacharya.
of Krishna,
But by the grace of
but by the grace of Krishna, he was able to kill Krishna, Bhishma, Dronacharya, and the others, and come out victorious. While speaking with Shukdev Goswami Maharaj, Parikshit also referred to this, the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He said, was just like an ocean, and the warriors were like many ferocious aquatic animals. But by the grace of Krishna, my grandfather Arjuna crossed over this ocean very easily.
This is very significant. We may have many enemies who may be very powerful fighters, but if we remain under the protection of Krishna, no one can do us any harm. Rakhe Krishna, mare ke mare. Rakhe Krishna, mare Krishna, rakhe ke. He whom Krishna protects, no one can kill. But if Krishna wants to kill someone, no one can give him protection. For example, suppose a very rich man is suffering from disease. He may have a first-class physician, medicine, and hospital available for him, but still he may die. This means that Krishna desired this man must die. Therefore, the so-called protective methods who have devised will be useless if Krishna does not desire us to live. The demon Ravana was very powerful, but when Krishna, in the form of Lord Ramachandra, desired to kill him, no one could protect him. Ravan was a great devotee of Lord Shiva and was praying to Lord Shiva, "Please come, save me from this danger." But Lord Shiva did not come. Then Parvati, Lord Shiva's wife, asked Lord Shiva, "What is this? He is such a great devotee and has served you as so much, and now he is in danger and is asking for your help. Why are you not going to help him?" Then Lord Shiva replied, "My dear Parvati, what shall I do? I cannot give him protection. It is not possible. Why shall I go? Therefore, if God wants to kill someone, no one can give him protection. And if God wants to protect someone, no one can kill him. Rakhe Krishna mare Krishna rakhe ke." Yes, this Srila Prabhupada.
Thus, Kunti is remembering how Krishna saved her and her sons one time after another. This is Smaranam, thinking of Krishna. Krishna, you are so kind to us that you saved us from many great dangers. Without you, there was no hope.
Okay. And the last danger was Drauni Astra, the weapon of Ashwadhama, the son of Drona. Ashwadhama performed the most abominable act by killing the 5 sons of the Pandavas. Of course, in the battle of the Kurukshetra, both sides belonged to the same family, and practically everyone was killed. But the 5 sons of Pandavas survived. So Ashwadhama thought, if I kill these 5 sons of the Pandavas and present their heads to Duryodhana, he will be very much pleased. Therefore, when the 5 sons were sleeping, he severed their heads. Which he then presented to Duryodhana. At that time, Duryodhana was incapacitated. His spine was broken and he could not move. Ashwadhama said, "I have brought the 5 heads of the Pandavas, my dear Duryodhana." At first, Duryodhana was very glad, but he knew how to test the heads to see whether they were in fact the heads of the Pandavas. When he pressed the heads collapsed, and Duryodhana said, "Oh, these are not the heads of the Pandavas, they must be the head of their sons." When Ashwadhama admitted that this was so, Duryodhana fainted, and when he revived, he said, "You have killed all our hopes. I had hoped that in our family at least these 5 sons would survive, but now you have killed them." Thus in lamentation he died.
Oh, is it so, Prabhuji? तब ये तो मेरे को पहली बार पता चला कि
क्या क्या
मतलब दुर्योधन का शौक, मतलब ये दुर्योधन को इस चीज का बहुत वो था, दुख था कि
हाँ
5
हाँ
और लेमेंटेशन में वो मर गए।
हाँ, मतलब इसी दुख में मर गए थे, सही बात है। वही उसी समय रोते रोते मर गए थे वो।
ये तो पांडवास के पुत्र थे ना जिनको जिनका सर काट दिया था उन्होंने।
हाँ, अभिमन्यु ने काट दिया था ना उनके बच्चों
नहीं,
को सर।
उन्होंने
अश्वत्थामा ने काट के और
हाँ।
धृतराष्ट्र के पास, दुर्योधन के पास ले गए थे कि मैंने पांडव को मार दिया, तो उन्हें दबा दबा के देखा था, कहते नहीं नहीं
हाँ,
बच्चों का नहीं है, प्रिय। उन्होंने कंफर्म कर दिया। धृतराष्ट्र बोले कि तोरे तुमने तो मतलब उनके बच्चों को ही मार दिया, तुमने बहुत गलत किया। अश्वत्थामा काफी स्वामी भक्त था एक्चुअली, दुर्योधन के प्रति काफी लगाव था उसका। पर वही है, इसको बोलते हैं मिसप्लेस्ड कंपैशन। जैसे रामायण में था ना, किसका
मरीच,
भरत की माँ, किसका मरीच, कैसे
मरीच का तो वो मतलब
किसके,
वो मरीच वो जो हिरन बने थे, उन्हें पता था कि भगवान है।
हाँ, उनका भी मिसप्लेस्ड कंपैशन रावण के प्रति। खैर उसमें तो ये भी था कि रावण ने धमकी दे दी थी ना।
हाँ, वो कंपैशन नहीं था, वो तो डरा के हुआ था काम, नहीं करते तो मार
दिखा दिया था कि हाँ, रावण बोला कि भाई या तो तुम जब जाके हिरन बन कैसे करो, या फिर मैं तो मार दूंगा। तो वो बोले कि भाई तुम्हारे हाथों मरने से तो अच्छा है मैं भगवान के हाथ ही मर जाऊं बस।
हाँ, एग्जैक्टली।
बट उसको भी वैसे डिवोशनल सर्विस में भी ये बोलते हैं कि अगर वो रावण के हाथों मरता तो उसे भक्ति मानी जाती।
यस प्रभु,
उसके पीछे भी तथ्य है एक। एनीवे, तो यही मैं बोल रहा था कि मिसप्लेस्ड कंपैशन हो जाता है कि इनफैक्ट महाभारत में आता है, उससे पहले भी वो काफी हड़कंप मचा रखा था उसने, अश्वत्थामा ने उससे पहले वो 2 किसी और को लेकर 3 लोगों का ग्रुप गया था, अश्वत्थामा 2 लोगों को लेके गया था शायद, इतनी कृपाचार्य कोई थे। और फिर उससे पहले वो एक कैंप में गया, वहां बहुत लोगों को मार दिया था, फिर दूसरे में गया बहुतों को मार दिया। और इसलिए गया था उन दोनों में भी कि उसे पता था यहाँ पांडव है नहीं, पांडवों से डरता था वो, क्योंकि उसे पता था कि उनके साथ कृष्ण है, इसलिए वो डरता था इधर हमेशा पांडवों से।
उसके बाद भी तो प्रभु जी ब्रह्मास्त्र छोड़ा था अभिमन्यु के ऊपर।
उसके बाद हाँ, उसके बाद भी उसने ब्रह्मास्त्र छोड़ दिया था ये सोच के कि करना है मुझे काम, पर सामने नहीं आया वो कभी भी। जब अर्जुन भी पीछे पीछे भाग रहा था, अर्जुन भी पीछे पीछे भाग रहे थे, तो मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि सामना कर रहा था, भाग रहा था। वो पांडवों से और कृष्ण भगवान से बहुत डरता था अश्वत्थामा, बस। अदरवाइज वो युद्ध में बहुत हावी रहता, बट सिर्फ इसी वजह से वो पीछे युद्ध में।
Can we stop here, Prabhuji?
Okay, so we'll stop now.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. We can start with learning.
तो मुझे तो वो पॉइंट अच्छा लगा द्रौपदी वाला, जिसमें प्रभुपाद बताए हैं कि कैसे द्रौपदी पहले खुद ही अपने आप को बचाने का प्रयास कर रही थी, but eventually when he surrendered completely to Krishna, then Krishna immediately appeared and saved her. So that's where we understand the concept of surrender, full surrender to Krishna. So I like that point that Prabhupada highlighted. Thank you, Vidpro.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Anything anyone wants to share?
Yeah, I like one point.
Yes, please. Yes, Dhananjay Prabhuji, please.
Prabhuji, one point I like of Yudhishthir Maharaj, although he know that उनको ये लगा कि वो लैक का ये हाउस है, फिर भी फायर होगा, लेकिन उन्होंने एक हाईएस्ट इंटीग्रिटी दिखाई कि हाँ मतलब फॉलो द एल्डर्स।
Yes, Prabhuji. आई थिंक वो तभी पॉसिबल था, नहीं इस युग में तो मुझे लगता नहीं कोई इतना आज्ञाकारी हो पाएगा कि उसे पता है कि उसे मारने के लिए भेज रहे हैं तब भी हो जाए। आई डोंट नो। Naveen Toji, you want to add something?
नहीं प्रभु, I'm good.
Pradeep Prabhu.
सेम पॉइंट ही था जो आलोक प्रो ने बोला था ना, सरेंडर मींस सरेंडर विदाउट रिजर्वेशंस। जो तो
द्रौपदी,
हाँ द्रौपदी वाला केस था ना, वो मुझे वही पॉइंट लगा था आज सबसे सही कि आप सरेंडर करने का मतलब ये नहीं होता है खुद भी एफर्ट्स मारे जा रहे हो ये सोच के कि मैं ही नहीं डालूंगा, कि मैं ही कर पाऊंगा। पहले आपको सरेंडर करना पड़ेगा, करेंगे कृष्णा ही, उसके बाद आप जो भी है देख सकते हैं।
उसमें एक वर्ड है ना अकिंचन, याद है? अकिंचन एक वर्ड है, अकिंचन भक्ति हमने पहले सुना था, विदाउट एनी रिजर्वेशन।
किंचन अकिंचन डिफरेंशिएशन बताया था जी। थैंक यू।
थोड़ा बोरिंग लग रहा है क्या अब सबको? मतलब लूज एनर्जी लग रही है सबको नींद वींद के हिसाब किताब लग रहा है, 7:30 बज रहे हैं ना।
नहीं प्रूजी, मतलब ये तो इंटरेस्टिंग चल रहा है पिछले कुछ बुक्स से, ये तो मुझे थोड़ा ज्यादा इंटरेस्टिंग लगा।
अच्छा आप ही कह रहे हैं इंटरेस्टिंग?
नहीं इसमें रिकैप हो रहा है ना वो सारा जो बचपन में देखा था महाभारत को, वो सारा रिकैप हो रहा है, ऐसा लग रहा है ऐसा रिकैप हो रहा है, तो इंटरेस्टिंग लग रहा है।
ठीक है, लो आप मतलब सजेशन देते रहिएगा, कभी कभी बोर लगे तो कैसे और इंटरेस्टिंग कर सकते हैं, तो फील फ्री।
यस प्रभु, यस, सजेशंस आर ऑलवेज वेलकम प्रभु जी। कुछ भी मॉडिफिकेशन या कुछ भी इसे और बेहतर करने के लिए, मतलब जो किसी को कुछ लगता है तो बिल्कुल प्लीज।
हम वो सजेशन माने या ना माने वो बात अलग है, बट सजेशन देते रहिए। ओके दशाता ब्रो, ठीक है आप?
हाँ यस प्रभु जी।
ओके ठीक है, सो विल स्टॉप नाउ। पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो Prabhupada की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय।
Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining everyone. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.